It's not recording. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the show. Well, today I have James. James is jumping in for Saturday, and we're just talking about Moira Deming. I don't know too much about
Moira Deming.
I don't know too much about it. Can you tell me more? Because I don't know much about Victorian liberal politics.
Oh, God.
I'm actually surprised liberals survive in Victoria, but there they are.
I'll tell you what, they're doing their best not to. Okay, so Andrew and I are both from Queensland. The audience may not know that, and I'm down here doing missionary work. The reality of the situation is that Moira Deming was pre-selected to replace Bernie Finn.
Yeah.
Bernie Finn was eventually thrown out of the party for his 20 years of being a loose cannon and not showing any discipline, arguing against party line, not even in appropriate ways, like calling leadership shit and things like that, and not in a way which is helpful. Just really, he will be happier in One Nation, right? He will simply be happier in One Nation. Anyway, Moira Deming was his protege, and it came down to a man called Fred Ackerman, who was Kroger's pick, and Moira Deming. Now, Moira Deming, not much is known about her in broader circles, but I've been watching her for a while. Her number one issue is abortion and banning it in Victoria, which is like, this is Victoria. Good luck with that.
I actually, I support abortion of Victorians 100%. More.
Oh, look, I'm for compulsory abortion. I don't like children, so, you know.
No more Victorians. Just
Yeah. But seriously, abortion is a very complicated, very morally grey issue, and I believe government should be silent on it.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
very
true.
pro-choice from that perspective, right? It's not up to me to put my morality on someone else. And so, but your Demings of the world, they don't take that nuanced view. They take a very much a let's ban it, let's go back to the world of coat hanger abortions, let's go back to driving it underground. They believe it's murder, and that the murder that will happen should be prosecuted as murder. I don't question the honesty of her conviction. What I question is whether or not you can win a compulsory preferential election where that is front and center in a state where 85% of people are pro-choice.
Yeah.
And so what we have in the party today is a bit of a mess where, in my view, Moira Deming and the like, these people that are very hard right on social issues and doing the American culture war stuff in an Australian context, I think they need to go to a different party, because we're not going to be able to win with them. They're playing the wrong game.
Yeah.
In Australia, we need to be in, and this gets back to Greg Connolly's point, which is, in Australia, we need people to be able to buy houses. We need people to be able to start businesses. We need cost of living. We need to be the party of economics and of libertarianism more so than conservatism. And until we accept that, the country is going to continue. The press are going to do us no favors by saying, look at Moira Deming, hardcore religious right. The Liberal Party's captured by the hardcore religious right. Ignoring that, in fact, Deming just disagrees with the broad majority of the party on one or two or four issues, right?
Yeah.
And those don't come up that often. But unless you can be disciplined in the MP role, you got to get out.
Yeah. She's probably just in the wrong party. That's all.
And
like Victorian, for a Liberal to crack through in Victoria, first of all, you need a spine, but secondly, you also need to you need to reflect that, like, the general population. At least just get to the centre. You just stay in the centre. Yeah, so obviously she just needs a new party. I didn't know too much about her before. I've just seen her pop up, and I've just been like, okay, cool. Well, she's speaking, she's speaking at a feminist rally. I don't really tends. I was thinking about this earlier. Like, I don't really tend to fall into the left's word games generally. So especially the last week. Whoever, I don't know, who was that lady? Posey Parker. That was her name. Fucking Jesus Christ. I'm over that word. But for me,
oh my God.
if I look at that and I look at the behavior of those women and her group and what they're doing, to me, the definition is feminist. I look at that and say, yeah, okay, women speaking for the right to speak, that's feminist. So if I see Moira Deming joining in, I'm like, okay, cool, that's a feminist. If I see people coming in and they're trying to stop feminists from speaking, you know, or anyone for that matter, you know, if you're trying to shut down the speech of people, I would tend to think that's a very authoritarian thing to do. That's basically what a Nazi is going to do. But yeah, I don't think you have to apologize because you were at a rally that other people, like Nazis, showed up to confront Nazis. I don't agree with that. But Moira's probably just got a history of being on that side, and maybe she should just. It
is very much the straw down here in the party itself. No one blames her for the Nazis themselves. Thomas Sowell is Thomas Sowell, and I think you put it really the most succinctly of anybody anywhere on the internet, which is. It's okay to say Nazis are bad, fascists are bad, authoritarians are bad, commies are bad, and pedos are bad. All of these are true.
Exactly. I don't know what they're arguing over. Like, everyone agrees to these things. I know.
Like, these should be, and if these aren't, if these 5 categories of, you know what, these people are bad, if you can't get on board with that, it's time for some serious reflection.
Yeah. I know.
So,
I don't.
For me, my objection to Deming is not that she was at a feminist rally that I find completely lacking of nuance. I want to defend her right of freedom of speech for that. It's that this is not the first time. This is not the second time. She's been asked to be a team player by party leadership dozens of times, and somehow we're still talking about Moira fucking Deming. As opposed to how kids are going to buy a house or how we're going to beat the most corrupt government in the country.
That's a good segue. I know. But as a good segue, how would you approach this? Gray, if you ever watch this, unmute me because I fucking swear. Just unmute me. But how do you propose people get into houses? Because it is I 100% agree.
It's really fucking simple. We build more of the bastards. This is one of those things, right? I'm very pro-nuclear, and this will take a lot of capital, but here's the 3-point plan to entrenching Liberal government in Australia. Step 1, nuclear power. Step 2, high-speed rail, preferably maglev. Doesn't really matter if it's not maglev, but it's powered by the nuclear power between Sydney and Melbourne. 8 stops along the way, each town of about 100,000 people. High-speed rail to towns like Ballarat, Bendigo, Toowoomba, Dalby, perhaps. But with high-speed rail, you bring these 300-kilometre, 100,000-person cities to within the same job market as the capital city. They become effectively the Milton Keynes, to put it in a UK context, they become dormitory cities of the greater thing. We have internet now that actually works. So you can spend 2 days working from home a week and go into the office 3 days a week or whatever.
Yeah.
Step 3. Oh, sorry. So we've built those cities. So part of step 3 would be to have a small tax incentive on corporates so that they can position the FTEs, the full-time equivalent jobs, in those cities rather than in the capitals. That's how you do it. Now you're in a situation where you don't crash the property values in Melbourne and Sydney. You don't ruin what, people have spent their lives trying to save. But you give the situation where millennials or downsizers or Zoomers can go and buy a nice house, like a nice suburban house in a nice new area where they've got room for a pool and a dog and 2.4 children, and 400,000 immigrants, and that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Until we're prepared to spend the capital acknowledging that the infrastructure is not going to pay for itself, that this is in fact a thing we're doing to subsidize housing and housing affordability, we're just going to make it worse. Because all of our first home buyer grants, I mean, you'd remember the implementation of the first home buyer grant back in the early 2000s. Yeah.
Fuck, man.
What it did the first time around, it was meant to offset the increase in construction costs for GST when GST was implemented in 2000. And all it did, the only thing it did, was increase the cost of housing, but not just by the $14,000 grant, because the banks were like, well, you've got $14,000, so we're going to let you gear that up 20x. So houses, over the case of a few months, actually pushed up 150 grand. And then every time we've just done it more and more and more.
Yeah, exactly.
1984 in Sydney, you could buy a house for 3.7 times average household earnings. Today, it's 35.
Yeah.
We've got to depopulate. Like, we can't keep. We have a country the size of the United States of America, and we're pouring into 2 cities.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. This is the thing. This is what needs to be addressed. This is a big problem. I did know. Well, we all know that after World War II, there was a big, urban sprawl. Not urban sprawl, but the actual suburbs took over. Suburban sprawl took over. You just need to get back to that. The land's there. Like, how can you have a land shortage in Australia? It's remarkably.
It's insanity.
It takes a lot of experts to get a land shortage in Australia. A lot of experts, a lot of
experts, a lot of bureaucrats, a lot of voices.
No.
I remember the voice.
Yeah, exactly. How do you get to that point? Like, it's crazy. And build those suburbs out there. There's so much land. Just open it up and just get everywhere we look, everywhere I look, or everywhere you look and you see problems in the system, at the heart of it is grift. Everywhere.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter if it's superannuation. It doesn't matter if it's the schools or anything. The health system. NDIS. It's just built-in grift. You look at the electricity system now, like everything, and it's just a nation of grift. The
NDIS is an amazing one. The NDIS is an amazing one, Andrew.
Man.
Because we all agree that if you're disabled, you know what? Maybe you need some help. No one disagrees with that. But we've got a situation where literally 10% of boys aged 5 to 7, according to the NDIS's own figures, 10% of boys aged 5 to 7 are on the NDIS as autistic. As someone who's actually autistic, we're 1% of the population.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, does it?
Like, I just don't get it.
But people naturally know. We know, and we all, it's sort of in our culture. We know that as soon as a government contract's involved, the costs are inflated, like double or triple. Everyone knows. Everyone's like, the government's doing. Oh, it's going to be a great contract to get. Yeah, because we can rip them off. Everyone knows this.
So,
and it's like
Kevin Rudd was a pretty unremarkable mid-level bureaucrat. He was chief of staff to Wayne Goss in Queensland, right?
Fuck, man.
You've
got to do this, don't you? You got to drag us down into this.
I have to. I'm taking us back all the way. I know where all the bodies are buried, people. So, okay, but how does his family go from a good public service salary to literally $150 million company? And that's because his wife, Theresa Rain, was sucking down cash from Job Network contracts.
That's a good one, isn't it? That's the other grift. Everywhere you look in the economy, there's these huge grift industries, and it's just milking us dry, like every step of the way.
NBN, oh my god, NBN.
The NBN was excellent. We need more NBN.
More.
Yeah, exactly.
More.
This is
Look, as a computer nerd who works in telco, I should probably keep my mouth shut. But Keep spending money on telco, people, please.
Jesus. And then
I've got 25 years to retirement. I need the cash.
if there was a way to combine 5G and NBN with community batteries, and then a Collins class on the side of that, if we could get them all going, a diesel powered 5G infrastructure setup, the possibilities are endless there. It's
look, 5G. We've all got 5G phones by now.
Yeah,
like, do you notice any difference in your user experience from your 4G phone from last year?
No, this doesn't transfer. We've reached, like there was what is the rule of
diminishing returns?
There is diminishing returns, but what's the law on Moore's law? Okay, so Moore's law, like, we're going to increase every 18 months. It's going to double the speed of things. But it's generally not true. I was going to mention this to you yesterday. Like, even when we're taking photos, our phones now are taking like 4K, 8K footage. Like, that's fine. Your iPhone can go and take 8K footage. But what does that mean?
What does that achieve?
Yeah, what does it mean? It means that you're just taking more data. It's going to store more data, and then, unless you're watching it on an 8K TV, which you're probably not, you're probably going to be watching it on your 1080p screen on your phone. Those extra pixels and that, it's just pointless. It's like you're better off it's not going to make your experience any better. You're increasing the amount of data, but your experience, you're still getting it through a 1080p screen. It doesn't change.
The joke that okay, so to talk about photography very briefly, when you shrink. Like, when you increase the amount of megapixels on a image sensor, you make them smaller, right? Mm-hmm. Which means fewer photons can fit, which means worse low light performance and more software going to clean it up. So your photos on your iPhone today are more fake than they were 2 generations ago.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they look better subjectively to someone who isn't a photographer. Mm-hmm. Whereas your full frame DSLR on your 8 megapixel full frame camera, you've got massive holes for the photons to, like, the particles of light to fall into.
Yeah.
And is light a particle array? Who cares? But
yeah, but everyone knows, like, I make occasionally I make videos, but to shuffle those files around, even like they're half a gig, 500 megabytes of video, to shuffle that around, and then where are you going to put that? I can't just upload that to Instagram. That's not going to fucking work. I can't upload that to WhatsApp. That's not going to work. Like, what do you do with that? You don't need it that big.
And why do we need a 100 megabit duplex connection, 100 megabits up and 100 megabits down, to every address in the country? Why? Like, this is the thing. Like, cellular was always going to win because we want it good enough and in our pocket.
Yeah, and
we are going to. Humanity is always going to choose convenience. We have known convenience and affordability wins, and we've known that since the VHS Betamax wars.
Mm-hmm.
Like, exactly. I don't understand why we spent so much money on NBN.
Yeah.
Rudd's original NBN plan, the $4 billion plan,
Why did you
was actually good.
My Saturday was good, man. It was doing well. And then you just said you had to bring Rudd straight into this. Like,
all right. Look, we'll talk about Chris Minns. It was a short night. It was a short night in New South Wales.
Oh my god. Right, yeah, it was. But Minns, he got up to the task. He was it was enough. He got up there for the night. Now, if he's up to the task,
a bit of a stretch.
Story. Yeah, it's a stretch, all right. The poor little bastard. But it just goes to show that it doesn't matter how tall you are. It's how you play the game. That's all.
Can we please stop with the idiocy of manipulating photos to show that, like, if they don't take the lesson that it's okay to be a short premiere away from this?
It's not
Swear
okay to
to
be
God.
a short premier. This is the wrong lesson. We're going backwards. Do you know if what happened in the seat of Hornsby? What happened in Matt Keane's seat? Did he win?
I think
hope
so.
not.
Let me just double check. I'm going to check their ABC because it's reliable.
Give us a live rundown.
Oh God.
I don't. Yeah. I don't want to
Hornsby. Oh God.
I hope he didn't do well. Like, he was the only.
Do you
one.
mean Hawkesbury?
Is it Hawkesbury? I don't know. I thought it was Hornsby or Hawkesbury. I don't know. I got no idea.
Holsworthy? Oh, Hornsby. 9.3%. 9.3% swing to ALP.
Okay.
However, he's still holding 57.5, and that is Keane. So,
No.
what's your issue with Keane? I know you're not a fan, and I just don't. I haven't really paid that much attention.
Yeah.
So
it's just his climate zeal and the way that he adopts Labor's policies, but he adopts Greens policies. He's trying to bring the Greens into mainstream Liberal, into the mainstream Liberal Party, and going that way, using that type of economics,
no,
just goes against
that's not gonna
everything.
work.
Everything that I.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
it goes against my whole ethos. I don't think that's liberal, like, at all.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Look, to all of the Liberal candidates and potential candidates and party members out there listening to this, this is what you say on climate change. Climate change is real. Humans are doing it. The solution is nuclear power
Yeah.
and more gas and cheaper energy so that we actually, are able to maintain Western civilization. Western civilization came about because of the Industrial Revolution, which means we do need nuclear power.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's just a. But even that point, like, I don't even try to engage in that. It's just a basic thing of, do you want communism or do you not? Like, your shirt's perfect, but all it boils down to is, do we want a command economy or do we want businesses thriving on who's the best and who's the most efficient? I would prefer.
Well, I would
to
argue we
slot in.
gave up on that a long time ago, probably around Wentlam. But
Yeah,
hey,
I know, but we've got to get back there. That's the thing, and unfortunately, it's going to take a big crash. It's going to take. This is the only way we can do it, and
until we're prepared to have the crash and the austerity that is needed to clean up, like we've been kicking the can down the road since, I want to say 2001, when the September 11 economic crash came along. Rather than take our medicine then, which we should have done, we started inflating debt. And I'm including the entire Western world in this, and we kept leveraging up. And every time there was an economic hiccup, the Keynesians came out and ruined everything. So thank God MMT is dead. We tried it during the COVID period.
God, but that was
Hopefully
just
we can't print money.
That was just dumb to even begin with. That's just dumb to even begin with. And then it worked its way in, and then you see these people like Alan Kohler from the ABC crab walking away from that one.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's so bad. Like, that's just. But you need these tough times. If you don't have these tough times.
Tax the rich. Well, okay.
Yeah, how does?
I mean, the global 1% income is $34,000 US. Tax the rich. Eat them. Yeah, let's get that done.
Yeah, but I think even in Australia, like, if you go to most people and you said, "Oh, do you think we should increase taxes on the top 10%?" They would probably most people would say, "Yeah, sure. That sounds like that's going to be a lot of money. That's going to be $500,000 or more." But the top 10% is like 140,000. That's nothing.
Yeah.
That's not rich.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And the
Like,
insanity.
that's not rich. And then they would be like, yeah, we're just taking on the big end of town. And you're like, no. These people are already paying like more than half of everything. And 140,000 is not a lot. Like, it's not. It's not going to get you far. And
I believe the last study I read, about 45% of Australian households are not net taxpayers.
Yeah.
So why do we have we're spending 35% of GDP on government in its various guises,
Yeah.
where, 1.9% on defense.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a lot, man. It's a lot. Like, it's.
I think defense should be 3%.
Yeah, I think it should be 5.
You're not going to argue with.
Yeah, actually, it should
Wow.
be 5.
Jesus.
We got to get the Commonwealth Aircraft Corporation fired back up. We got to get a tinny in every shed. It's gotta, there's gonna be a tinny behind every blade of grass.
Quintrex is going to have a good year when you're in charge,
Yeah,
aren't they?
fucking oath. They'll think twice. You bring an armada, we're gonna come at you with the tinnies.
We're going to come at you with our crab pots.
Skimming some sinkers across the surface. It's yeah, I know. But no, it should. That should be.
Yeah,
boosted.
it's shit.
The issue isn't revenue. The government doesn't have a revenue problem.
No, it has a spending problem.
It has a
dramatic
massive
spending
problem. It's a spending.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, and that's the only way I can. They have a huge spending problem, and this is where those bullshit stories from the Australia Institute coming out saying, "Oh, there's a wage price spiral." No one ever mentioned a wage price spiral. No one in Treasury.
No, there isn't.
One. They've made it up so that no one will address the spending in the government. That's what they're saying. They don't want the
This
government.
I know. The wage price spiral, you can tell it's bullshit if you're out there, because I want you to think about your last pay rise. That's how you can tell
exactly.
this wage price spiral is bullshit.
Yeah, and but no one mentions it.
That's simple.
They just made a straw man to attack it, so then the government will not address spending. And
Yeah.
we got to crash hard. We got to crash before we can rebuild. This is
Until the left accept that when Whitlam came to power, government expenditure was 24% of GDP, and when he left power, it was 28% of GDP. Unless they can accept that we can't keep growing, unless they want a central command economy,
they do.
which they do,
Yeah.
but unless they accept that we can't just keep inflating this balloon, we can't keep kicking the can down the road. We need to take our medicine,
I know.
and there's no easy way.
No, you just got to do it. Like Finland did after the GFC. They just took their medicine. They just took the hit, the hit for the banks. They put the people in jail that needed to be in jail, and then they moved on and rebuilt. And that's what you should be doing. And instead, it's you got the bureaucrats leading it all around. I don't. Anyways, this is depressing.
You know what'll fix it?
Margarita.
A solar feed-in tariff.
A solar feed-in tariff. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll fix everything.
Oh, fucking oath, man. When doesn't a tax fucking fix something? It's just going even on the taxes front, they're going to go after cars next. They're coming after cars, and they're coming after meat and dairy, and they're never going to be satisfied. It's like the cars is, you look at the cars now, like the car market, we're deliberately fucking with awesome designs. Some of the designs are excellent. We have these excellent motors on the market, and then they have to attach all this other shit to them that just fuck up their efficiency and everything.
Oh, it's insanity. I think the solution for cars is not batteries. I think it is in fact methanol.
Yeah, it's just a fuel change. That's all. We don't need to change the cars.
Yeah, and I think you can make with nuclear power, you can make methanol cheaply, abundantly, cleanly. You can burn it safely in current stuff and in current vehicles. And actually, you can't consume your way to sustainability. No. You need to change what you're consuming.
Yeah.
Be that... anyway, it's just people fucking it. I can't.
Yeah, I know. Anyway,
they're so dim.
Anyway, so what was Lydia Thorpe your highlight for the week? It was mine. I loved
my highlight for the week.
I loved that shit. I was fucking I was in tears. It was up there.
I think we can shut it down. The best Lydia Thorpe meme is the one where Putin is riding her like a horse. We have a winner. It's game over.
Oh, shit.
Sorry, it just is. And my other highlight for the week is Marsha Langton crying how racist it was that a constitutional scholar has said this process is corrupt and is actually going to be bad for the country.
I know.
And resigned on principle, and suddenly he's racist. Like, you picked him, Dr. Langton. You picked him to be part of your voice committee, and he's saying it's corrupted and going to be bad for the country, and the process is broken, and he's resigned to draw attention to that. You picked him because he wasn't a racist, unless you intentionally picked a racist.
Yeah. She does. It's amazing how many how many racists just happen to be around Marcia Langton.
It's incredible. She has the worst luck.
I know. Like, talking about statistics, like that's a. Whoo.
Oh, look, some people are just,
This is what
it's
I
me
always,
and bad dates, right? Like.
Yeah. Well, see, this is why I say that usually I would be the one picking on the feminist, because I always found it incredible how feminists always manage to surround themselves with like the worst men ever. Like, it's like, why is all the men in your life so terrible? How did this happen?
Because they keep going for the nice guys.
I know, and then it's like, and then it's the same with Marcia Langton. Everyone around her just ends up being the worst racist you could possibly ever imagine. It's like maybe the problem isn't these other people. Maybe. I'm going out on a limb here.
So yeah, look, Thorpe's pretty hard to beat. Leaving aside
she's just
the nuance, like the reason the right is challenged by this conversation about trans people and women, is because we all know that there are men who are taking the piss.
Yeah.
Who are pretending to be trans. If I was running the trans lobby, I would actually start by saying, yes, help us filter these fuckers out.
Yeah.
I think there'd be a step change in trans acceptance if we just acknowledged the reality that there are in fact people in the world who take the piss.
Yeah, but that was a big change too, especially like from the culture war, being a shitlord and on the internet for the last 10 years, like seeing the culture war develop. The trans lobby were always there, and they're always pushing their thing through. But when it became mainstream, and when the criticism really started to bite, and it really started getting people, is when they started going after kids.
Well, I don't understand what's so challenging about saying as well, drag, strippers, burlesque are adult entertainment,
exactly.
and they're not appropriate for children any more than a really visceral, violent slasher film is really appropriate for your 5-year-old, right?
This is just going back to the straight definition, like I said with the feminists. When I see these women up there standing on a soapbox demanding their right to speak, I look at that and think that's a feminist. That's all. This is the action of a feminist. If I see a bunch of men in drag dancing in front of little children, I look at that and go, that's weird. That's
and
really
the trans
not
lobby,
cool.
The serious trans lobby who just want to go about their lives in peace, they should be standing against that.
Yeah, I know. And that's where they're getting a lot of the blowback from. But then they just frame it as anti-trans, and it's like, no, just leave the kids alone. I don't care what the fuck you do. You can do whatever you want. I don't care.
You're an adult.
Yeah,
Good luck.
I don't care. Just leave the kids alone. Like, stop trying to give kids like sex changes. We don't do this. We don't do affirmation on any other type of dysmorphia. We don't do affirmation on anyone. We try to help these people.
We've got 1 minute left in our meeting time.
Yeah, I know.
I'd like to point out this.
Hot minute, James.
When I was a child, I really wanted to be a fire truck. And my parents got so many things wrong.
James, look at that shirt.
My parents got so many things wrong, but to their eternal credit, they made me wait until I was adult before I could have dozens of firemen in me.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I thought this was going the way of the seaman, but you went straight for the fireman. Down that pole.
It's not the best joke. But,
you wanted to slide down that pole. You were just all over it.
Okay, I've been beaten. You win. You win again, Andrew Hennessy. You win again.
Wrestling hoses. Jesus.
Oh my god. Okay, well, I'm glad I raised the tone. Thank you for having me. It's been an honor.
No worries, man. No worries. I'm gonna get. Actually, I need some food now. I need some lunch. But I'll try to upload this for everyone. I'll try to have it up on the weekend. There's a little chat. Oh, it's done. And yeah, I think we just lost James. I think he's gone. Yeah, he's gone. Oh well, everyone. I'm gonna wrap this up, and I will all talk to you hopefully soon, sometime, maybe Monday to Friday at the same time in the mornings. Anyways, peace.